Here's a fact. I don't know whether you know or not. Sicilians were spawned by niggers.
Come again?
It's a fact. Yeah. You see, Sicilians had black blood pumping through their hearts. And no, if you don't believe me, you can look it up. Hundreds and hundreds of years ago, you see, the Moors conquered Sicily, and the Moors are niggers. See, way back then, Sicilians were like wops from northern Italy. They all had blonde hair and blue eyes. But, well, then the Moors moved in there and, well, they changed the whole country. They did so much fucking with Sicilian women, that they changed the whole bloodline forever. That's why blonde hair and blue eyes became black hair and dark skin. You know, it's absolutely amazing to me to think that to this day, hundreds of years later, that Sicilians still carry that nigger gene.
All right, Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai Ba'Shem Rachak Wadash. Double honors to the elder apostles, GMS who rule well, and also honor and salutations to those of you who are of the hopeful elect and are out there teaching the word in sincerity and truth. All right, so another show. I wanted to talk about a screenshot of a comment that was on a video that was sent out to the brothers. And what you have right now is a lot of Edomites, or I'll say this, a lot of so-called white people. I'll say that for the sake of the show, who are butthurt, if you will, by the things that we teach, by the things that we say, and their emotion causes them to superimpose their thoughts into what our message is. You know, there hasn't been any camp that has said white people are condemned to hell. There hasn't been any camp that said only black people can make it. But these are the terms they impose onto us, because ultimately they're hurt. They're hurt. Their worst nightmare has come to pass, in that they actually have to pay for they actually have to pay for the things that they've done. And it's like, oh shit, now this one thing that they latched onto that allowed them to have some comfort in their conscience for being a so-called white person is now being taken from them, which is so-called Christianity in the scriptures, and this name Jesus that they throw out there. It's now being taken from them. The one thing that I had as a white person to make me comfortable from the guilt that I felt from being white is now being taken from me, and they don't know what to do with themselves. And we had this reminds me of this one so-called white lady that had come up, and she was, smiling and shedding her her white mist, spraying her white mist, her white lady mist. And she thought when she came up that she was going to control the content of the conversation, right? And like most women do, when it didn't go her way, she got emotional, and all of a sudden she was raped, and and we don't have any idea what it feels like to be raped, and it had nothing to do with what we was talking about. And then she started crying and she walked off. But that's what women do when they can't control what's going on in the conversation, they play the guilt thing, and then when that doesn't work, if they stay long enough, they belong to you. Truth be told, but that's another conversation. But anyway, the content of the conversation was, it's not only for you. It's not only for you. It's for everybody. It's the whole world, and that's just not true. There was a lie told on earth that the Bible was for everybody, but it's only for the nation of Israel. Now, in keeping with the topic of the show, not all white people are Edomites, and not all white people are condemned to hell, right? And not all black people are Israelites, right? And I think it's especially in this time now, right, where they're gonna start trying to condemn our speech, right? It's important that we say that, this thing of ours is not about the color of your skin, right? It's not about how you look. It's about what nation you come from, what line going by the man did you come from, right? And it's funny that I'm doing a show, because I'm doing a show based on a comment that I seen, but I listen to a lot of talk radio, as I always say, and there was this there's this guy who he said, he made this comment. He said basically, black this and black that and Africa this, and these people were originally black, and Muhammad was originally black, and black is not a nationality. Being a Moor is not a nationality. A nationality of a person or a people is determined by what man they came from. What man they came from. And regardless of what your skin looks like, if you came from a particular man, that's what your nationality is. So if you came from the line of Jacob, right, regardless if you're the darkest of the dark of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, or the lightest of light of the Latin tribes, you are still an Israelite if you came from Jacob. That's how nationality is determined. This whole, and I meant, when I was thinking of this show, I meant to look this up, but it's probably going to take a while to find something like that, but I'll mention it, and then you brothers can go look it up. But the concept of identifying people as black and white is a new thing. That's something that just started in the mid to late 17th century. It's not a thing that has always been done. Because if you look in the scriptures, right? Let me do this. I'll show you. I'm gonna show you something. I think this is how you spell it. Bear with me for a second. Oh, how you spell that? I'll just do this because I think I'm spelling that wrong. Here we go. So Simon's name is Simon Bar-Jonah, right? But I want to show you something, if my memory serves me correctly here. Okay. Here we go, right? So when you look at this man's surname, right, which is Bar-Jonah, right? It's made up of two words, right? It says this says Bar, which is wrong, right? Let me just look it up right here. Right? Really, this should be right here. Bun. Right? Bun, which is son, right? And then when you go back, what's this? Yawana. Okay? So that name means son of Jonah. right? And that's how surnames were developed. Why? Because your nationality was determined. Damn, this video won't upload. So like your nationality is determined by who your father is. So in ancient times, you were said to be, in my case, Imas Bun Levi, or Adama Bun Gad, or what have you. That's what your surname was. It was your name, and then the son of what tribe you were from. Or and as time wore on, right, and we get into more modern times, it became directly who your father was, not necessarily what tribe you were from, but who your father was. And then even further, then we lose that whole mentality, and we start having last names that we adopted: Smith, Johnson, right? But even the word Johnson, right, or the name Johnson denotes you were the son of John, right? So that's how nationality is determined, by who your father is. No, that's not what I want. So yeah, so I wanted to show a couple of things here regarding so-called white people, right? Because see who white people should be mad at is their own people for erasing history. because again, not every white person is black, and being identified as white or black is a new thing. So that you should be mad at the people who started doing that. That's who you should be mad at, not us. They're the ones that created that narrative that white is better. And now that you're finding out that it's not, now you mad that we saying you can't be a part of this thing. But it's not because you're white. It's because chances are you're an Edomite, right? So let me show you this comment. I'll show it to you, right? I don't know what video is from. I screenshotted this, so I don't know exactly what video it's from. But it says this. It says, just because I'm a white person, I'm damned to hell. Can you point this out in print for me to see? I've never verbally or physically attacked anyone. Sure, I've sinned, and I know I'm not perfect. Don't understand why I was taught just believe and pray for forgiveness and repent. If that's a lie, I need to know truth. So again, you're not condemned just because you're white. That's ridiculous. That doesn't even make sense, because when you look at the color spectrum of the nation of Israel, we have so-called white people, right? And because of the scattering of our people, you'll see a different a wide range in the color spectrum because of the scattering of our people. We've been on every continent in the earth, and we still are on every continent on the earth, man. And when you're on different continents that have different people, what happens? You start to intermingle, you start to marry, you start to have children, right? And so we like you got people that always say this thing, which is a sensitive topic for myself. They always talk about I'm a black man with a black woman and so forth and so on. But what the fuck does that mean? What does that mean, you're with a black woman or black woman? Because if you look at black women's track records since the 60s and 70s, they're not very good people. And that's a fact. Like there's like your mother's black, and that's what be the response, which is true. But my mother is not like most women, right? And again, when you have when you look at the so-called black woman, they're not very good people to use as the standard of what you should have as a wife, right? And if again you have a woman that goes back to your same nation and she just happens to look white, that she's of that nation, right? And this is why you have to be spiritual to understand these things. But let me go into a couple of these things. So I got some stuff pulled up here that I want to go into. Is it this one? Yeah, let me read this. So this is a quote from essay from Benjamin Franklin. I just want to read this real quick. It says, why should the Palatine Boers, Germans, be suffered to swarm into our settlements, and by herding together establish their language and manners to the exclusion of ours? Why should Pennsylvania, founded by the English, become a colony of aliens who will shortly be so numerous as to Germanize us instead of our Anglifying them, and will never adopt our language or customs any more than they can acquire our complexion? Which leads me to add one remark, that the number of purely white people in the world is proportionably very small. You see? So this is which is gonna lead me into the next show I got planned. So I won't touch too much on that, but I'll say this, that the idea of white people, purely white people, is a very small number, right? The Edomites are the smallest nation, if you will, on the earth. They are the minority on the earth, and that's where I'll leave that, right? But here's Benjamin Franklin himself saying it, right? It says this: all Africa is black or tawny, Asia chiefly tawny, America exclusively the newcomers, wholly so, and in Europe the Spaniards, Italians, French, Russians, and Swedes are generally of what we call a swarthy complexion, as are the Germans also, the Saxons only excepted, who with the English make the principal body of white people on the face of the earth. I could wish their numbers were increased, and while we are, as I may call it, scoring our planet, right, which is, I looked this up a little while ago, but let me do it again. Check this out. Clean or brighten the surface of by rubbing it hard, typically with an abrasive or detergent. You see, this is from your man here on $100. Scoring our planet, right? By clearing America of woods, and so making this side of our globe reflect a brighter light to the eyes of inhabitants in Mars or Venus. Why should we, in the sight of superior beings, darken its people? Why increase the sons of Africa by planting them in America, where we have so fair an opportunity, by excluding all blacks and tawnies, of increasing the lovely white and red? But perhaps I am partial to the complexion of my country, for such kind of partiality is natural to mankind. So again, you know, white is a small number. The whole world is dark skinned, right? And the reason why it's been lightened, right? One, because you have all those dark skinned people intermingling with so-called white people or lighter people, right? And Elder Apostle Ramnar said this years ago, right? Because people always say this, that Ephraim and Issachar, they got that light skin because they're of the conquistadors, but that's not true, man. Because the scriptures say this, that we're made from the soil of the earth, right? Now, I don't know if you ever did any digging, but when you dig right into the earth, what you'll see is like these spots of lighter brown soil, right? And those people come from that. Then there's not only one color of soil in the earth, or now the darkest is the predominant color, right? But there are light colors of brown in the earth, right? So it's not about the conquistadors. Fucking people are childish. They've taken this concept of black and white and they've just ran with it, man. You know, oh, the original Muhammad was black. So what? He wasn't of our nation. I don't care how black he was. He wasn't an Israelite. You see? Claiming the Egyptian heritage. Yeah, were the Egyptians dark skinned? Of course. But are they our people? No. No. Ask if Nelson Mandela was still living. Ask him. Those people are not our people, man. Yes, we're both dark-skinned people, but we are not African. We're Israelites. All right. So let me I got another thing I want to show. Those two. All right, so this is a little site here. I don't let me tell you this last site. This is from, I got it from Pinterest, but you can look at two jigs, right? When you think of these medieval pictures that you see that of people that look white, this is what you're looking at right here. They got them tight curls, right? That's the people you're looking at right there in those pictures. But yeah, but this is from Pinterest, I believe. So let me go here, which I think this is also from Pinterest. This is what led me to this. But it says, striking photos challenge the way we see blackness, right? So I'm going to scroll through here and read a couple of these. But check this out, right? There's clearly a Jake woman, an Israelite woman, right? But look at her skin. What's happening to it? You see? You see? Now, if this was to happen completely to her face, which there's a lady in here who would happen to completely, she would look like a white woman, right? But let me show you a couple of these, right? Check these people out, man. Right? Which they say she's Ethiopian, but you know, right? Check this guy out. Who's this guy? Right? Looks Asian, right? Or Japanese, or you know. But that's a Jake right there, man. I identify as black, and when I say black, it's not just based on race or color. It's about what feels most comfortable in terms of a sense of home. Check that out. Look at that guy. He looked Japanese, man, or you know, one of the I guess so-called Asian tribes, right? Look at that. Is that not an Israelite man now? Because he looked like that, right? So it's not about being black, man. Okay? Check this out. Look at this chick. Though in certain contexts people will see me as white, I've never tried to pass. I don't know why one would. I mean, obviously, sociologically, I know why one would, but it's just never been an option to me. Look at this girl. You see? Some more down here. Right? She also looked like she got a little Asian in her. Oh, Cape Verdean. I didn't even read that. Check that out. Cabo Verde. Oh, boy. Yeah, look, I may identify as biracial person. I'm black and white. But if people see me as a black woman, that's how I'm treated. So I identify as a black woman because I moved through the world as a black woman. But check this out, right? My oldest son's mother is Cape Verdean. And when I met her, she, you know, her and her father didn't have a great relationship. So, or no, it wasn't that. What did she say? When she introduced herself, she says that she was mulatto. She was black and white. And I was looking at her. I was like, I don't know about this black and white thing you got going on. And then finally it came out she was Cape Verdean. But her father is from the island of Brava in Cape Verde. And her mother is from Angola. But her mother looks like, let me show you. Her mother looks like this chick. Well, not facially, but this color, right? But if you've seen a picture of her dad, of her my oldest son's mother's grandfather, he looks as dark as I do. I'm trying to find somebody dark, but ain't many of them in here. But if you look at the man, he looks dark as me. But her mother, you know, got this color here, you know, cause her mother got that white skin. But her mother's a Jake. I've been around that lady, man. She you know white as can be, but that's a Jake woman, man. You know, so it's not about being black or white, right? So let me show you some more of these. She's clearly a Jake. But check this out right here. This is what I wanted to show. Sean Gathers, black African American, right? He ain't even mixed. Both of his parents probably black as me too. You know? Check that out. A lot of Caucasians think I'm white because they've never run into somebody that has albinism. At the same time, I don't feel like I'm passing. I can't hide being black. My nose, my eyes, my lips, my cheekbones, come on. Ain't no white part of me except my skin. You can't judge a book by its cover. Well said. You see that? He do look like a white boy though. If I didn't know better, I would mistake him for white too. You know. And look, check this out. Same thing. African American, black. Look at that. So when you see, I wish I would have kept it pulled up. But when you see pictures of medieval times of queens, matter of fact, let me see something. Where did I get it from? Damn, I deleted that motherfucker. But there's a picture of a Queen Elizabeth, or not? Is it Queen? Yeah, Queen Elizabeth the First, I think it was, or was it somebody else? I might be mistaken, but she looked exactly like this. Had this same color hair and everything, and it was, you know, tightly curled like that. But she had this, you know, that skin that made her look like an Edomite. But this is what Esau did. You know, making it seem as though if you were in Europe, you were white. If you were in Africa, you were black. And that was the narrative. That's the story that was told. But it couldn't be any further from the truth. Right? Check that out. Check that out. All black people, right? Well, she Ethiopian. Yeah, she a Hamite. But check this one out, yo. I was looking at this. I was like, damn, this dude don't look black at all. Like this, like he looked like a straight up. He looked like this teacher I had. Matter of fact, that I hope the Lord lets me get my hands on. You know, it says somebody might look at me and question my blackness or feel like I don't have the right to speak for African Americans because I don't look black. They might even assume that I don't experience racism because of how I look. Check that out, man. Check that out. Look at that, man. That's amazing. Here's the lady I was talking about. See, African American, straight up. Straight up. But look at her hair and her face, man. Look at that. This is what happened to Miriam. You see that? Vitiligo is not something that changes you as a person. I may not be the color I used to be, but I am the same person. I don't try to pass myself off as somebody that I'm not. I'm still who I've always been, a strong black woman who is very proud to be a part of a race of people that have endured a lot. Alright? Check that out. Louisiana. Creole. Right? So, you know, so that's it, right? So what about those people? Right? What do we do with those people? Are they not Israelites? So I wanted to read this real quick. Actually, let me go ahead. Because I mentioned this already. Go ahead. This is Acts 2, and I'll just jump right down to the 8th verse. It says, and how hear we every man in our own tongue wherein we were born? Right? So you got Parthians and Medes, Elamites, dwellers in Mesopotamia, Judea, Cappadocia, Pontus, Asia, Phrygia, Pamphylia, Egypt, Libya, Cyrene, strangers of Rome, right? Jews and proselytes, Cretes and Arabians, right? So our people were in all these places, man. Our people were in all these places. Matter of fact, that reminded me of another scripture. Right, Isaiah 11:11, it says, and it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria, from Egypt, from Pathros, from Cush, from Elam, from Shinar, from Hamath, and from the islands of the sea. You see? You see that? So we're going to be everywhere, man. We are everywhere. You know? So we're going to look like the people of the lands we're in. Right? But let me go here real quick. I don't think I need to read the other one. This is the last one right here. Let me see. So we all know, you know, this talks about the, you know, 12,000 from each tribe, but check this out. Right? This is Revelation 7:9. And after this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and people and tongues, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands, and cried with a loud voice, saying, Salvation to our power, which sitteth upon the throne, and unto the Lamb. And all the angels stood round about the throne, about the elders, and the four beasts, and fell before the throne on their faces, and worshipped the Most High, saying, Amen. Blessing and glory and wisdom and thanksgiving and honor and power and might be unto our power forever and ever. Amen. And one of the elders answered, saying unto me, What are these which are arrayed in white robes, and whence came they? Right? Because why? They look different. Right? And I said unto him, Sir, thou knowest. And he said to me, These are they which came out of great tribulation, and have washed their robes and made them white in the blood of the Lamb. You see? You see? So it's not about being white or black or brown or tan. It's about what's your nationality? What man did you come from? All right. So with that, hopefully that was edifying, and I'm gonna say shalom.